Hey there, this is Katherine Cartwright. Welcome. I am going to be making a card using this Floral Pattern 4-pack stencil from Stamps of Life. There are 4 stencils included: a stem, leaves, a flower, and a little polka dot sort of pattern. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started on this. I've got a piece of cardstock trimmed down. I am using Bristol Smooth cardstock. That is my preferred paper when I ink blend. And I'm going to be using some inks from Stamps of Life. These are dye-based inks. So I've added a little bit of tape to the back of my stencil and the paper to just make sure that it doesn't shift. I'm going to begin with my brush using Artichoke ink, and I'm just going to blend these stems onto my paper. This takes just a second, and you can see the color pop right off the page. And I'm just going to take care to make sure that I get all the little sections that I want and that I don't miss any. And I'll move my magnets around to make sure that I can get to all of my corners. But these go really, really quickly. So I'm having fun trying out this one today. All right, so that's the beginning. I've left that tape on there. And I'm going to put the other stencil, the one I just used, on top of the second one, which are the leaves, to kind of help me find where to put it. Now, I would advise cleaning your stencil before you do this. I just was being lazy and I didn't. But you can kind of see when I have that one lying on top, I will eventually see there is the stem. And so I know I'm kind of in the right location. This is just to kind of give me a reference point of where I want to place that stencil with the leaves. So I'm just going to straighten that up just a tiny bit. It was pretty close. And then I'm just going to lay that back down onto that tape. That mint tape will help keep it in place when I am ink blending. So I'm moving on to green apple, and I will add all of the leaves all around. These are fun because I could just stop with the 2 of these. I don't necessarily have to go forward if I want, or I can use all of the stencils. And I'm actually going to do something else in another video with that last stencil that I'm going to use, which are the polka dots. I have an idea for that one as well. But these layering stencils are fun because you can use different colors. You can change them up however you want to. You can have, instead of having green, you could use blue or black or brown. I mean, just whatever you feel like doing with the color palette of your choice. All right, so now I've got the leaves on there. I could just leave it just like that. I'm going to take a second and clean in between because I did get a fair amount of the green ink on the bottom of my mat. And I just want to make sure that I don't smear and get ink onto there. So again, you can rinse your stencils between this to help you layer. I'm just looking for where those leaves are. And once you can see how it kind of darkens a little bit, kind of know where I want that to go, the next layer. That's just a little tip that I found to be able to line them up for the next layer. And I'm going to move to cherry ink here, and I'm going to ink blend this all around. This one takes even less time because there's just a few blooms to add onto this. And then there'll be one more layer after this. So again, super quick and easy. I'm using a brush. You could use an ink blender or a little dauber or whatever you have. This is just what I had. My brushes were fairly clean. I recently cleaned them, took the time to do it. And so I'm going to use these on this application. All right, and there is cherry. There's layer number 3. Okay, and here is the last one. So again, I'm going to pull the next layer, and I will add the previous layer on top, and I'm going to use that as kind of a reference point to see where those flowers are, and then I will kind of know where I want those dotted sections to go. And I'm looking, and there you can see when I finally discover it, I can press down onto my tape and I have it in a great position. All right, so I will finish up with Cantaloupe, one of my favorite colors. So pretty. And this is just a fun dot to add a little more interest to this card. So these backgrounds go very quickly. You could do these over and over again, and like I said, you can change colors between if you want to, or you could keep them all the same and just have a bunch of backgrounds that you could assemble cards when you're ready. Okay, and that is it. So that's my background. I'm going to go ahead and I have cut some posies to stamp. That's the club set this month from Stamps of Life. I used the dies, and I have cut those out, the big one, the smaller one. I'm just using the dies instead of the stamps in this application, and I'm just running that ink around to give a little bit of dimension to my flower. And then that little centerpiece there, I'm just adding a little bit too. I cut a tiny little piece from Cherry. You can see that kind of veiny, spidery looking middle part. I don't know what the technical term is on a flower. The spindle, I don't know. I'm just making up words that could be called. So I'm going to use that to add a little bit of contrast to my flower. So I'm going to take my large layer. I'm going to add the next smallest one on top. And then I'm going to add that kind of little spindly part to it. Just adding a little bit of glue onto there. The fun thing about this month's club set is if you get, there's the main set, the posies to stamp, but then also there's some add-ons and you can do a lot with them. I've got another video where I'm going to make some flowers, and there are so many possibilities on this. You could have so many different looking flowers just based on what stamp or die you use. So there I've got the center of my flower on there, and I'm ready to put my card together. I have a piece of this black and white plaid paper. It came from the card kit this month, May of 2023, called So Kind, and I'm using one of the word dies that was also included in that set. I had it on my table, and I thought it would work very well with this card. I've cut that from Cherry and then added powdered sugar on top on the So Kind. It's a little crooked, so I'm just kind of have to pull this up. I didn't pay attention when I put it down initially, and it just got a little bit crooked, so I need to fix that up. I'm going to add a little more foam to the back of my flower, and then I will pop that up beside the So Kind. So cute. This background is so pretty and easy. I love a good stencil. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this around and kind of get it the direction I want it to go. And then I will add that onto my card. Sorry, I was kind of coughing a little bit a second ago. I just had something stuck in my throat. I have a few of these leaves that I also die cut that I'm going to add underneath my flower. I'm just trying to figure out where exactly I want to place it. That's again from that same die set, the Posies to Stamp die set. I'm going to trim down just a little bit so I can get it to fit nicely under my flower. And then I will add some liquid adhesive here and finish that off at the top to kind of balance out that image. Okay, so now I can finish putting this card together. I've got some cantaloupe. I'm going to I'm going to add it to the cantaloupe, and then that will go onto the cherry card base. This card is A2 sized, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And a quick and simple card, but a lot of beauty to be had with this beautiful stencil. Now to finish this off, I'm going to take one more little step and add some Stickles glitter glue to it, to the center of my flower, so I get a little bit of shine. And there you go. There is a quick card using that new layered stencil set from Stamps of Life. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day, and I'll see you soon.